Welcome to The Old World Lives, a Warhammer Fantasy Battles podcast. You can find us on Facebook at The Old World Lives, on Instagram at The Old World Lives, and you can reach us by email at theoldworldlives@gmail.com. And now, on to the episode. Hello and welcome to episode 34 of The Old World Lives, our Warhammer podcast. And it's been quite a while since we managed to record last, but life, stuff, time, sometimes life just comes in the way. And with me tonight, I have Jimmy.
Hello, everyone, and greetings, Chris.
And Niklas.
Hello.
Welcome, you two, and I'm glad that you're the enthusiastic one this time, Niklas.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the fact that we haven't recorded in a while. It's been Christmas in between, and the thing of like when you take a break, it's hard to catch up again and start the routine again of recording. And also, I've been in lockdown here in the UK for several months now, and like no prospect of playing the game, so it's been hard to motivate myself.
Yeah, but that second part, at least, is something that probably all can relate to when there's no games to be had, just to have to take it on a daily basis, except for Jimmy, for some kind of reason, managed to get games in anyway.
Yeah, it's magical, isn't
it? Jimmy, have you set up the gaming table at your place yet? I know you bought a table. Have you got any games in on that?
I have just a few. But I can only play like 500 up to 1,000 points on it, but that's more than enough if you ask me.
Nice.
So, Warhammer Skirmish, then?
Yeah, it works perfectly for it.
Almost quite large for Warhammer Skirmish, but it makes for quite nice for like raiding scenarios and stuff like that.
Oh yes, and Empire in Flames.
And that too. So, you can take elves in Empire in Flames, right?
Yes. I will allow it.
Is it also frowned upon?
Elves are always frowned upon, man. They're just too good in that game. But they still look cool. They do look amazing in skirmish warbands. I mean, a small band of elven raiders from... what's the thing called across the sea? Not Ulthuan. We have the Dark Elves.
Oh, America? No, wait.
Yes.
Nagaroth?
Nagaroth Raiders, like focusing on... I just forget all the names. The guys with the dragon cloaks. Corsairs. Black Corsairs. Theming warbands around those guys, raiding coastal villages and everything. Or elven warbands with... what's those called? I should know this.
Shadow Warriors?
Thanks.
And the Wood Elves have Way Watchers.
Yeah.
So now you have all three of them.
But I'm all into dwarves now.
Yeah, Pointiers are all the same.
You know this conversation I'm talking about, Jimmy.
This
Raptor Imperialis.
Yes.
And that is one of the Eldar Farseer Spirit Seer.
The link doesn't work yet.
Well, you tell us. You're the Pointier specialist.
Yeah.
Not all Pointiers are the same. But I can say that he's using a dagger from the Shadow Warrior kit.
All Pointiers are the same to my axe.
Oh, the bitterness.
All right, so what are we doing in this episode? What's the plan, guys?
It's the Farseer. I found it. It's the Farseer. And I want to make one of those into a mage and then have a newly Warden-themed Rangers to have them as a Beast Hunter pack from Hoeth or Sephri. That's what I want to do, like a small warband. And all of them fits into an army that I will talk about in a bit. And to answer Jimmy, or Niklas even, it's great. We're like 5 minutes in and I'm already confusing this. We don't really have a topic today other than just record, get something out there, and talk about the monthly challenge, because we've had 2 months to talk about, and all of the releases and previews that has been on Warhammer Community. That's pretty much it. And some hobby updates if we have any.
Oh, and doing hobby as we speak, because I'm painting my dwarf warriors.
Ooh, which warriors are you painting? Taking
The
a hobby.
ones converted from my miners, my extra miners,
Ooh.
because a lot of people out there hate the fact that I convert old models. It's like, well, dude, it's my models. I do what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the alternative is, I'm not going to convert them, so I'm just going to put them in a box, and they're never going to see the light of day again.
Yeah,
That's pretty much the option. There.
Yeah, I
and
mean, I understand them that they don't hate seeing like old, beautiful models tampered with, but you've done an excellent job and they look amazing.
Thank
so
you.
I will allow it.
I will allow it.
And to be fair, this is how we did it 20 years ago. We just cut up metal models and did whatever we wanted with them.
Yeah.
And we still probably have the pieces in our bits box, just like laying around.
The thing is also, back in the day when these models were new, people converted them as well, and no one bats an eye. And
Yeah.
20 to 30 years later, you cut something old up and you're shunned for life.
To be fair, that was your neighbor.
Shh, don't let them hear it. That was a secret.
So, since you're the one that's been doing most hobby, I reckon, what
Yeah.
have you been doing for the last
Well,
2 months, pretty much?
I painted up a full force of Chaos Warriors, and I painted up a full force of fucking dwarves.
How about regular dwarves?
I'm doing those right now.
They're all just very obscene conversions of Garagrim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must say that this espresso martini might have hit me quite a lot for some reason. It's at least we're gonna blame it on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but have you posted your entire dwarf army that you've painted so far?
On
Instagram?
my own Instagram, not on our podcast Instagram. I will do that once this battle commences, because I'm
Ooh.
preparing for a game.
And just, I was thinking you should post it somewhere else as well, because we
Yeah.
have a Twitter account now.
Yay, Twitter! I'm gonna get used to it.
So are we gonna argue about the empire politics and what elector count is a total moron and who is the best?
Who is owing
Yes,
who money?
of course.
Is there some kind of Trump of the empire at some point in time?
Yeah.
Most of them. They're all racist and don't never want to leave power.
There was one. I know the dwarves hate him because the dwarves asked for aid, and he said "fuck that," and he went from Nuln to Altdorf, and I think that's when Altdorf became its new capital. But I don't remember what it was about.
You don't remember anything today, Jimmy.
No, I don't.
The problem with humans is that they live short enough that you can't have nine Phoenix Kings or 9 emperors for the entirety of your history. It's like 3 a week or something. You can't really remember them all. Also, our Twitter handle is @theOwlPodcast because The Old World Lives was too long for Twitter. So, who are you facing in this mythical battle, Jimmy?
I'm gonna face my friend Victor, who plays Vampire Counts. I think I posted battles from us before on our Instagram. It's the same guy who won our first big challenge with his Goblin Warboss.
Oh, nice.
Ah.
Yeah, I was talking with Jimmy before we started recording when he said he was playing Vampire Counts, and I said that I've had some pretty tough games with my dwarfs against Vampire Counts. So I hope you fare better than I have.
I hope so too. I mean, my goblins always win against those Vampire Counts, but the goblins are random. You don't know what they're gonna do. But dwarves, you pretty much know what they're gonna do all the time. Grumble.
You just gotta be lucky with artillery to take out the biggest, scariest stuff.
Yeah, luckily dwarves do have some magical protection. I mean, extra dispel dice is always great when facing magic-heavy armies like Vampire Counts.
Yeah. And the fact that you can take runes on artillery pieces, making them magical attacks.
Yes, because I know he owns ghosts.
Exactly.
I remember when one of my magical stone throwers just scattered and hit a banshee and killed her.
Classic dwarf tactic.
Yeah, that's something that's easy to forget, that artillery get magic attacks when they get runes.
Yeah.
And even like runes like this unit is now unbreakable. It's on the war machine. Hence, its attacks are magical.
Just
Yeah.
take a sheep rune if nothing else.
The cheapest rune is like flaming attacks, 5 points.
Yeah. Always put that on your bolt thrower.
So I'm heard.
And then you can do great things when facing Tomb Kings and Wood Elves, depending on if they have Tree King or not.
My friend Martin at home, he is playing both those armies. He's currently 3D printing a Tomb King's army, and it's looking pretty nice.
Has
Nice.
he painted his Wood Elves yet?
Yes.
Fuck.
When we were at the tournament earlier last year, he was basing them prior to the first game.
Yeah, but at least he's one up on me because he's painted
And,
stuff.
And he have painted most of his dwarf army thanks to contrast paints, which is really great. His Sufbar army.
Contrast paints are a great tool to use.
Yeah.
I just want to mention one more useful thing with the flaming bolt thrower. Trolls. They're great against trolls. Don't forget
Ooh,
it.
no, I will not forget it. And against ogres, because ogres always tend to use that troll gut spell
Oh, yeah.
for regeneration. But yeah.
But, have you guys used contrast paints? Anything?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
bit. I use it to paint white beards on my dwarves.
Clever.
I used it for the tails and manes on my Illyrian Reavers. The blue ghosts I painted last year, I painted mainly in contrast paints, but mixed with other stuff. So you mix them with some matte varnish or something to get the shine off. And the cloaks on my still work in progress sword wardens for my Mordheim warband is painted in contrast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I also use contrast for my Empire guys, which I have painted so far. So it's contrast with an additional highlight, and it works quite fine.
Why not? It's easy when you have to paint like 80 models that looks pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So to catch up, how many projects do you have now, Jimmy, left to do?
Apart from my Empire, I don't really have, and my ongoing dwarves, of course. I don't have any other on hold, I think. Oh yeah,
Chaos,
I do.
or are they in the planning stage mostly?
The Chaos are pretty much finished, at least my undivided force. I do want to start a Slaanesh army.
I'm not surprised that you want to do that, given what we're going to talk about in the news in a bit.
Yeah. But since I don't have any good Marauder models yet for a Slaanesh force, I am putting those on hold for a little while. So yeah, dwarves, humans, and maybe add a unit or two to my undivided Chaos army. I would love to field Marauders or something else. Not Marauders. Minotaurs or something else from Beastman. Beast units are pretty neat.
Yeah, I still think I still have the flame cannon that I bought for you.
Yeah.
I think you already have one of those.
Yep.
Like, you bought one after.
Yep. Do you want to buy it?
Yeah, I think that would be the easiest because I've been stuck on this island for 2 years now, or at least 1 year.
I mean,
So,
I doubt that I'm gonna field two of them ever.
Is that the flame cannon you bought from me?
No, that's still in bits.
Yeah, because I still got 1 or 2 bits from that one in my drawer. So just doing the twice a year update on that, I still have the bits.
Yeah,
we'll used to create our own economy of dwarf flame cannons.
Yeah. Let's hope you can start up your project in general, Niklas, sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Pretty much finished with the dwarves.
You're never finished, but you're done for the moment.
But yeah, my next project, the Dark Elves, I'll have to start after I'll be able to go to Sweden again, I think.
Yeah, I still got a box of them here for you, if you still want them.
Yes, I do. Just when the time comes, when the mists gather and the dark corsairs arrive from the west.
Yeah, I'm gonna say there's no way I would send them to England at the moment anyway. So
yeah,
because they won't arrive. They won't arrive.
Yeah, my birthday is coming up soon, and my mom asked me like if she should send a package, and I was like, well, you can try, but it's gonna get lost.
Oh, if
Yeah.
they do send a package and she's gonna send some Swedish candy, I do highly recommend the new Marabou popcorn chocolate.
Oh yeah, that's
it good?
great.
It's good. It
That's
tastes pretty much like the candy Smash if you try that snack.
Oh, I love Smash.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it tastes like that, and it's cheaper.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was surprised on how tasty it was when I got a bar of it.
Yeah, there are a couple of shops in London that sell Swedish things, and I have been able to eat many semlor this year actually.
Nice.
Ooh.
I might have to try that out if you get it in stock.
Semlor is muy importante.
I had one like an hour ago, semla. It was lovely.
It's the closest thing most Swedes get to religion, I think.
Yeah, and it's even a bit of a controversy having it 2 days after the day you're supposed to have them. But given that stores are selling them in like June these days, it's something has gone wrong in the world.
Okay, so should we move on to the news?
No, I actually have hobby updates. I have
Yes.
hobby updates.
You do.
Yes, I am painting Preacher Joseph from Inquisitor, and it's a great model to paint.
How
Yes.
is it painting a different scale?
It's a bit different, but since it's a G-dub sculpt, you know what you're getting, so to speak. You know what everything is, like all of the purity seals, and the details are pretty much similar to what you get on 28mm Preachers. It's just that you have to be a bit more careful to not getting paint streaks and stuff like that, because it's larger scale, larger flat surfaces.
For a long while, I was playing mostly Flames of War, which is 15mm, and then when I moved back to 28mm, I was like, holy shit, this is so hard to paint, so hard to get all the details right. So I'm imagining it being the same thing.
Yeah, it's not like it's a bust, at least. That would be a bit more of a change, I reckon. But 54mm is different, but not too different, at least. What I found so far, the face will be a bit more detailed. That's what I'm fearing most.
Well, you should fear that face.
Yeah.
He's an ugly preacher.
Yeah. I think it's in his 60s in the game. And he's like a battle monk that just rouses people.
60 years on the front line.
And I think he's almost deaf because he worked at a gunnery crew on a starship or something like that. So it screams even louder because of that. And enough about his background. I'm also painting a bolt thrower for this month's monthly challenge. Or rather, I'm finishing one that I started last year and have tried for the other time we have a rare choice or war machine choice. But I finally gotten back into a painting mood, which is the most important thing when painting, I think.
Yeah.
And Eltharion the Swordmaster.
Mr.
nice.
Blind Guy.
Yeah. It's such a nice model. The sword is a bit clunky, but it's because it's a metal cast and it's really thick, like all the metal swords were.
I mean, metal and 6th edition. They didn't make thinner swords until like early 8th, or was it late 7th?
The unit champion on the Empire Swords Masters in metal had a thinner sword, but that's pretty much it. And that sword is bendy as fuck.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're basically like rectangles or blocks rather than actual swords.
We've been cussing more than normally now.
I remember the like all the swords in the Lord of the Ring range were just horrible.
So big.
Yeah.
No, they were smaller. Like they were both true scale and a smaller scale, but they were all just floppy as fuck. Like you had to like actually become a weaponsmith and just hammer them out to get them straight.
And then we have the lovely 6th Dark Elf Executioner swords that were a separate piece from the rest of the model, with the miniature mini.
I mean, you had to pin them all the time.
Yeah, and it's barely enough to get a pin in there because they're not that thick in the base of the sword blade.
We need thicker.
But Eltharion do come with a list that I might have been doing. I'm gonna mention that. So I made an entire Hoeth-themed list, and stuff like some banners or that can be changed, but they're just placeholders for points. But I'm gonna mention it and see how, if any, of our listeners actually say it's shit or not.
They know it's elves, of course it's shit.
Yeah, and this is Eltharion, the Swordmaster, of course, and he has a rule that makes Swordsmasters no longer be 0-1, which is lovely. He also have no real armor, so he's quite easy to kill.
I will throw goblin bosses at him.
So
At least-
what came first, the fact that you have 60 Swordsmasters, or the fact that you have Eltharion?
I've owned this model since it was released in 2004, I think it was. I haven't had enough Swordsmasters to actually fill this list until last year, so I guess both at this point.
It's a perfect marriage.
Yeah. Also, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I got a mage that's level 2 for reason of being thematic with Hoeth. And since he's everyone's best friend, he carries 2 Dispel Scrolls.
Boo.
And then I have a commander, and he has Lion Guard, so makes character and unit stubborn. And Pure of Heart, which is what one character has to take. And Bear and unit are immune to panic. And that's the one that everyone wants to kill because it gives up 100 victory points. So he has a great weapon and shield, so he can't really use both at the same time, I know. But I have 19 Spear Elves. That's first among equals. So they have a Lion standard, so they're immune to fear and terror. And they're still elves, so they're quite easy to kill. But at least they can't really be moved. Then 10 archers, 2 units of 5 silver helms with shields. Then I have a 15 block of sword masters with a blade lord that carries the blessed tome, which gives 5 units within 6 inches have a +1 leadership. And then I have another unit with sword masters, and they have the amulet purifying flame, and spells target the bearer units offer -3 on casting roll, just because they're from Saffrey, they're from Hoeth. They're supposed to be good with magic. Then I have 6 Shadow Warriors with a unit champion, and because it's standard for most lists, 2 Bolt Throwers.
Well, best artillery in the game.
I mean, what else do you have in the rare slot choices? It's like Phoenix Guard.
Could take 2 Eagles instead.
Eagles or throwers.
Or I think 1 Bolt Thrower and 2 Eagles, if I have 2 rare choices, That's also an option.
Can you take 2 bolt throwers as 1 rare choice?
Yeah. Well, that's why they're so good.
Yeah.
Same for Dark Elves, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pesky Elves.
And partly these Bolt Throwers are from a vision of having a giant floating elemental with a large bow with 2 attendant channels of some sort shooting massive arrows of light or something. Somehow based on the new Lumineth Realm Lords Fox God thing.
It's a furry.
Yeah. Obviously, it will be converted, but there's also rumor of an actual Lumineth Bolt Thrower. We'll see how that looks if it actually gets released. It's supposedly allied to the side that Tyrion is leading.
Cool.
Yeah, it's mentioned a bit in the army book, but there's no hints yet. But we'll see. So, what do you think, you two, who love elves above all else?
It seems like a fairly balanced list.
Yeah.
A bit defensive, maybe. No cavalry, right?
Except for the 2 units of silver helms.
Oh, yes. How many were in those units?
Yeah, 5 each because they're flanking units.
Okay. Yeah. So more of a defensive counterattack, right?
Yeah. Because the commander will be with the spear elves, and that is quite a useful unit if you manage to kill it. You get a banner and you get the extra 100 victory points and all of that.
Yeah, I like it. It's not like overly magic, so that it will be a real pain to get rid of, but it's still like Hoeth magic. It's good. I like it.
Me too. It's not for the fact that my goblins are gonna steamroll it, because goblins are best at killing elves.
Yeah.
And my dwarves are gonna kill them as well.
We all know that I,
my
on average, roll once, so it doesn't matter what I build. I can do whatever list I want. I won't win anyway.
And my Skaven's weapon are never gonna misfire, and they're gonna kill them elves as well.
And then we go closer to 3,000 points, and I add another Lord in it. This is more of a theme list than
I
I
love it.
take it all tournament list, but
And I
it's,
love theme lists.
yeah, it's at least something to build towards.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a reason to mainly paint. If I manage to do it, paint my swordmasters. They will be ridiculously blue because everyone has seen the teaser, which is pretty much you two and like 5 people on Twitter, and maybe one more. On my Eltharion knows that he's really, really blue currently.
Insert song about someone singing that they are blue.
Yep, I've had that on my mind for quite a while. So, as Niklas said, how about some news?
Yeah, loads of, well, I don't know, teasers or previews.
Yeah.
Seems like there's endless of them, but I never know when anything is released or where, really. But the models look great.
As I mentioned, as we record, there's another preview on Saturday, which is the Lord or Heroes of the Mortal Realms, something like that. So we'll see if that gives anything more. But there's supposed to be both Underworlds and Warhammer Quest Cursed City in that one. So loads of potential for character models, at least.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned the big Twitch preview they did as well, since we haven't recorded in a while. But there wasn't that much Warhammer related in that. They announced the game.
I mean, all the models they've shown so far.
Yeah, they're
Pretty
great.
far out, Mordheim. They showed one today, and that guy is gonna be a perfect necromancer or warlock or just beggar man.
Or convert him slightly, and you have a preacher from one of the larger imperial cults.
Yeah, he also have a kind of nice. I'm not sure if it's a dagger or a small short sword, but it's in his belt, and I just love the look of it.
Yeah, all of those models have been really great. Really like a new aesthetic.
It almost looks like a kukuri or something, like a curved blade.
Yeah.
It's very Vermintide in feel, I think. Very dark.
Mm-hmm. And the good thing about the models that they've shown so far is that they work for Warhammer Skirmish, they work for Mordheim, they work for just adding cool models to your existing units. I mean, those skeletons.
Yeah. I'm looking at that. The preacher guy is called Torgilius, if I want to know. The Chamberlain. I'm thinking what are they called? What are the flagellants? That's what they call it, right?
Yeah.
Like a flagellant champion or flagellant unit filler standing on something, rousing the rabble.
A prophet of doom.
Yeah.
I love the idea of unit filler, actually.
Yeah, because he has the a board on his back with a knife in it and all of the scrolls and everything on him. Yeah. And it's just mentioned the skeletons that have been shown so far.
Oh, they're so good. Why can't they make a full unit looking like this? Real the guard skeletons. Yeah,
the watch captain. That would be a great character for vampire counts.
Oh yeah.
Or a unit champion, but it is good enough to be a character on its own. And they are, if you don't want to take a vampire, you're just going to take like a raised lord or something.
Yep. White King.
Yeah, that's the name. And then we have the Gorslav the Gravekeeper.
Also a model. We don't know much of him yet. Like, is he a necromancer? Is he just another undead denizen? Or whatever. When I look at him, I see necromancer.
I see the one from the monster from the first Witcher 3 expansion in the mansion that was roaming the gardens.
Oh yeah, the Gravekeeper.
Yeah,
God, I hated that battle.
Yeah, and it's pretty much. It looks like he's inspired by that battle, actually, that monster, because they got this shovel axe and everything.
Yep.
And Gorslav the Gravekeeper, this gaunt and towering creature tends the crypts and charnel pits of the Ulfenkarn corpse gardens, silently toils away in his unhallowed domain, ignoring the screaming terror of his victims as he buries them alive in mounds of cold grave soil.
It's a nice guy in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lovely model. A really lovely model. And then we have something that... there's a model that I think most people would have if they want to make like a Witch Hunter warband for Mordheim.
Yep, a nice witch hunter with a stake handgun.
Yeah.
Ah, so cool.
I think you could... it would be quite easy to convert that to a crossbow if you wanted to.
Yep.
Which would almost look even cooler if it had a crossbow.
I mean, if I'm gonna use this model playing Mordheim, I'm gonna rule it as I'm gonna buy him both a crossbow and a handgun at the same time. So
Yeah. I love that they are pretty much just decked out in weapons that they have... would have needed like 4 more hands to actually carry them all in battle. But it looks like they actually come prepared. They're just not only carrying the sword they have in their hands, like most models used to have. Because they didn't have anything else.
I like to keep this for close encounters.
Yeah, he's got a hammer, he's got a sword, he's got a dagger, he's got like 8 stakes and a rifle and a stake shotgun under the rifle.
Hmm.
And then we have the last model that's been previewed for this so far is the one that I know that at least in the intro podcast chat we cooed a bit about over this the other day, and that is the Cultist Exile, which is a... don't let anyone tell anything different. This is a wood elf.
Yeah.
This is like a proper wood elf lord almost in looks.
And when I look at it, all I see is this is potential to build Carillion from Vermintide. It's a perfect model to base on her.
Yeah, it's a great model in general. It's just really great. I don't get, like, a lot of people said they didn't like it. But what is not to like?
I know that at least some people that said that they didn't like this prefer models that were made 30 years ago and have not really advanced anything on that.
Yeah, I don't know. The Wood Elf range has had some dodgy models throughout the ages. I think this is one of the better ones they've ever had.
The Wood Elf range has also had some of the best models, the most dynamic models in the range as well. Yeah.
And as well, like some people saying that they didn't like the model standing on a stone.
Just cut it off.
Yeah. I mean, this is a problem with models that they make today, that everyone is playing the floor is lava.
Yeah. But on the other hand, this is the model made for a board game.
Yeah.
Rather than a mass battle game. So you can get that.
If any model should look like super dynamic, it should be the Wood Elves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you do it on a human, like on every human, then that would be too much. But like a Wood Elf firing a bow, that's awesome.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you play a Wood Elf, even if you use this one as a character in a 6-dead army, you could even do it like one of those characters that are basically running alone or in a unit of skirmishers, and then it would fit perfect.
Yeah.
Use it as a Waywatcher character.
I also like with this model, like compared to the rest that are very grim, that this model is pretty clean, which fits very well with being an elf.
Yeah. They don't have time being grimdark.
And even though those horns are, I think, technically growing out of her skull, you could paint them in like a wood or metal if you don't want them to look like horns or like real horns.
I just assumed it was some kind of crown thing.
No, I think she's Kernothi, which are the subsect of what I call the Sylvaneth, or not the Sylvaneth, the other sect of Wood Elves in Age of Sigmar or something like that. Those that not following Alariel.
The Wanderers.
No, the Kernothi are the half. They're also in Underworlds in the Beastgrave Warband. What are they called? The one with the Kentar and all of those.
Beastmen elves.
Yeah. They're the followers of Orion and not of Alariel, so to speak.
They're still beastmen.
Yeah. But they're... It's either that or being a tree, so what would you choose?
I don't know.
Yeah, but I reckon these models will be great.
Yeah. Also, we've seen some silhouettes from artwork of other upcoming models from the same kit. They're gonna have from the look of it, a badass vampire.
Yep, that's probably the leader of the city of undead.
Yeah, there's been 2 pictures released of a animalistic foot and someone leaning on something. And in the trailer for the game, there's I'm not sure if it's a lycanthrope-ish character, but the characters certainly have wolf-like feet and is clinging onto a wall. And I think this is going to be a nice model to use as well.
Yeah. I reckon that would be why it's called Ulfenkarn in the end.
And
there's some kind of curse.
Then they're also gonna have a ogre. Looks like a classic man-eater ogre.
Yeah.
With the 3rd edition iconography with the leering sun heads, which was pretty common back then.
Yeah.
I think it's his shoulder pad that's formed like that. I like the look of it.
I seriously look forward to this.
I hope to know more.
Yeah. I reckon we'll get to know more in the next preview, given that it's supposed to be partly about that.
Yep.
So,
here's for hoping.
And back to other releases, we have, I think, 3.5 Warband that's been previewed for Direcastle by now. Because the last one we have only seen 2 of the orcs.
Yeah.
But let's start with Kargras Ravagers, which are the Chaos ones. What do you guys think about these guys?
I like them. It's good to see a female Chaos Sorceress.
Yeah, and the Warlord as well.
Yep.
Kagra herself is... they're really good models as well.
Yeah.
Most of the Underworld Warbands have had really good models in them. Really beautiful models. It's too bad that they discontinued them after a while.
Yeah. What more? They have some pretty nice Chaos Warriors in that box, which will work nice as unit champions.
Yep. And I think you said that you could use her as the leader as like an aspiring champion or something like that.
Yeah. She would be perfect for an aspiring champion. Or even exalted champion.
Yeah. And I reckon a weapon swap would be quite easy to do with those if you want to. If you don't want to have a spiky mace.
Maces are pretty rare, so I would love to keep the mace.
Yeah, and it's not like there's a sword on the back of the model as well. So you could just choose which weapon you want to use. And there's a great sorcerer in this kit as well. It's really nice.
Yeah, I am considering fielding that one in my Chaos army.
Yes, I bet. Because they're so neutral, they can fit in either undivided or in any of the gods.
Yeah, I think I would make her undivided.
Yeah.
Or rather, undecided.
But we all know that the most power comes from not choosing a side. And then we have the Starblood Stalkers that are just a box of great lizardmen heroes.
And they look great. I mean, the new look on the Chameleon skink it's flawless.
Yeah.
I just hope that they will release like kits for lizardmen looking like this for Age of Sigmar, so we can use them in Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah.
This is the look we need for our lizard people.
Yeah.
Or just release them for the old world when it drops.
Yep, hopefully.
Yeah. Because this kit is basically a starter box for a warband of... like, if you want to play like an Empire in Flame setting or just have character upgrades for your army, because you get Skink Hunters, you get Azara's Old Blood, and the Skink Priest, and then you get Chameleon Skink if you want to use that one, because I think he's listed as one of the Skink Hunters in this kit.
Yeah, I wonder if they're just going to port... I mean, they haven't done any new Lizardman stuff since the old world, right?
Not
the latest thing.
What is Sigurath? What's the latest?
Yeah,
thing?
a terrain piece.
Yeah.
Unless you count the Blood Bowl team.
Yeah.
But
they'll just port these over to the old world when it drops as heroes.
Gonna look amazing.
Yeah. And like a Underworld's Warband isn't that expensive if you just want like a character box, as we've mentioned so many times before.
Yeah.
It's
And some of the warbands you can buy separate without the cards, and they're slightly cheap. Objectively speaking, it's a pretty fun game.
Yeah.
Just too bad it's in a setting in a ruined world.
And then we have the War Master Titan. Oh no, wait. I'm just not scrolling fast enough. But it looks glorious, that Titan. Ah, there it is. If anyone wonder, I am currently looking at the preview, which is why I'm mentioning War Master Titan. And then we have the Severeth, Lord of the Seventh Wind, which would make a great bolt thrower.
No. I really love that model, to be honest.
The Lord of the Seventh Wind?
That's the furry with the bow, right?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Did you?
But now for what I was actually looking for, which is the last warband that's been previewed that isn't orcs. And that both of the orcs that's been previewed so far are great champions of savage orcery. But there we go. A vampire.
Much needed vampires.
Yeah, and a lady vampire.
Yeah. This warband screams of being used as vampire heroes for Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah. That guy holding the big mace or whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
Perfect
yes.
battle standing bear. But
Yes.
he's just so detailed. It's incredible. Like his forearms are just like, it looks like a four-year-old bust. It's great.
I mean, someone mentioned to me that the leader of the warband looks like a mirrored version of the 7th edition release of Vlad von Karstein, and he really does.
Yeah. And I like that they have more bestial vampire faces.
Yeah. I mean, I do prefer playing 6th edition with bloodlines with vampires, but this aesthetic is amazing.
Yeah, and I reckon that you could just bloodline them up as well.
Yeah, there's no problem there. I mean, they could the leader could go as Blood Dragon or von Karstein. You choose. The guy with the mace, he screams. His face screams von Karstein, but his armor is. I love how it's segmented. It really screams Blood Dragon there as well.
Yeah. Even though he has got a great mace, and if you don't want to use him as a standard bearer, he would look really badass with either holding a massive sword pointed downwards. Into the ground.
Yes! Oh god, I can see it. It looks so cool.
Yeah, or an easier conversion, just add a halberd on top instead of the mace.
Battle standard bearer.
Yeah, as I said, if you don't want to use him as standard bearer, you could just. But I reckon just that pose with the sword into the ground, just standing there, being broody.
Ooh.
And then we have the female vampires are really cool.
Yes, she's ready to cut her hair.
Yeah, she has to be really careful when using that sword.
But her stance amazing. The model, she's gonna rank properly in any undead unit.
Yeah.
That's what I like about these guys. Yeah, exactly. They have a very narrow footprint.
I can see her either in a proper vampire counts list or a zombie vampire coast list.
Oh, yes.
Just paint her boots like leather instead.
Them zombie pirates.
And then we have the little imp with mace and wings. That one would be harder to place.
He's going to be easy to use in 7th and 8th edition because you can buy the rule fly to your vampire.
Yeah.
If you're going to use him in 6th edition, I would say this is a what are called the Strigoi vampire thrall with the same power because you can buy fly for those guys as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Strigoi are the more bestial vampires after all.
Yeah.
Hobo vampires.
Yeah. But they do later on start to think that they're noble knights.
Yeah.
Because those are the only ones that are left currently in Age of Sigmar.
And speaking of vampires, they also showed another vampire model, a female vampire with bats holding her hair. because maybe it's
Yeah.
maybe it's Maybelline.
Yeah, that's for the Soul Blight
Yeah,
section
and she looks really good too. I mean, just swap the hair or do a head swap. All in all, her armor looks great. The shield, amazing. Her mace is a bit big for my taste, but it's easy to swap out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said before, I really love that they're sticking to this vampire aesthetics that they introduced in 7th edition because they look really, really cool.
Yeah.
So hopefully this model will bring a horde of zombies or something when they release this army.
We know that they will never release any new zombies. The old ones are perfectly fine.
I mean, if it ain't broke, why change it?
It worked for my grandpa. It'll work for me.
Well, given how old that kit is, it's almost true these days, that statement. But yeah, hopefully the zombies will get the same treatment as the skeletons are getting, both with the old Underworld's Warband, the Graveguard or whatever they're called, and the new ones from Cursed City.
Mm.
Just imagine what they can do with.
Yes.
And then they should make a live version of them and call them Militia. Yeah, new Militia boxes.
Yeah, that'd be great. I wonder how they would make new Militia then.
I'm
They
thinking
don't
that
really do move
if
part anymore.
well, if the old world is set partly during the time of 3 Emperors, they could just make a core box with upgrade sets for the humans, given that they're 3 Empire armies fighting against each other. But we'll see, given that they're also Kislev and Bretonia.
Cathay and every other race.
And new high elf settlements outside of Bretonia.
Yeah.
It was just used to be watchtowers, but I think we all just are waiting for the slightest tidbit of whatever is in the old world at this point.
Yeah. You call them high elf outposts. Me and Jimmy called it unfinished business.
Yeah, but just imagine that was what was left of the high elf colonies in the old world after the War of the Beard.
War of Vengeance.
Angry racer noises. But that was pretty much all of the news, right?
Well, did we mention that they announced his stuff for Total War?
No, and we haven't mentioned that they announced Cathay for Total War.
Yeah, it's a pretty big announcement, both of those, because mostly because for Kislev, because they also announced Kislev for the Old World as being a faction.
Yeah,
so that will be very telling in what they plan to do with those guys.
It gives a bit of a hint of the aesthetic for that army, more than the preview they did on the sketches earlier.
Yeah,
and I mean, looking at the sketches and what we've seen from the trailer, the bear cavalry, they look very grim fantasy. Because one of the pictures that they showed off back when they told us, hey, we're going to do Kislev, one of the bears had a lot of magic eyes on its armor.
Yeah.
And I know people was like, oh, it's going to look like World of Warcraft. Oh, it's going to be Age of Sigmar-ish. And there's no trace of that on these bears. So I reckon that's going to be for characters.
Yeah, it could be like a spell effect or something that they have. Because if as a Niklas most certainly know, they only have one mage in the 6 dead army list. And it would be nice to have something else than a character for 490 points, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do, because like Kislev had quite a lot of background, but it's very like specific information about certain things. But like the general vibe of the whole faction is still left to tamper with, really. And I really like this Eastern unknown feel of the faction so far. And the stuff we saw from the trailer looked really cool.
Yeah.
So you can draw inspiration from like both Slavic things, but also Mongolian culture and like steppe culture in general. And just Eastern cultures that people of the West don't really know that much about can just do whatever. So it'll be really cool to see what they come up with.
Yeah, and then you can put archers on a mix of a kangaroo and a tauntaun.
God. Yeah, I wonder if they'll add any crazy creatures up there.
I'm actually looking at the what is it called? The Vanari Lord Regent. That is was
Sounds
previewed.
made up. It is made up.
Yeah, it is, but it's on
Only
a
in my
like
nightmares.
elves and kangaroos. The Mortal Realms is full of surprises, isn't it? And that is from G-Dubs themselves. But they did in that when they tried to reclaim the release from the Potato Cam photos, they previewed the Vanari Lord Regent, which is their first unnamed character for the Lumineth, and is riding on some kind of magical tiger cow.
It's a tiger cow horse.
Yeah, but I'm thinking if you can mod it to look more either lion-esque or more horse-like, like head change, mod the feet a bit, and put a mage on it, or just have a cool rider. I'm just looking at stuff that I want to convert for potential future projects that could fit in.
I saw some guy convert those. I don't know what faction has them. Is it Stormcast Eternals that have the Griffin Hound things? I don't know what they are.
Yeah. Yep.
Someone converted them to demigryphs though, with proper Empire demigryphs riders from 8. I usually am not a fan of that unit, but these models look great. So
the Dracolisks, or what are they called?
No.
any
they
made up
are-
name that you would like to tell me that they are called, I will believe it.
It is a bird thing that Stormcast can ride. They're like outrider things.
Fair enough. Given that the demigryphs are still available, that's why I wondered if there was something else.
They look great though. I like those. So you can make use of some of those Narnia creatures. Not even Narnia has those kind of crazy things. Anyway, they look good. You can definitely convert those tauntauns to look good. I think with enough green stuff and
A hammer.
Yeah, a blender
A bit
maybe.
a bit of effort.
I can't find any use for those particular ones in Six Dead Army aesthetics. They're a bit too far gone. But a magical creature for a sorcerer lord of Hoeth, that would work.
Anything could be a steed of chaos.
That too. Speaking of chaos, Jimmy, there's been some Slaaneshi, hasn't it?
Yes. Some nice opulence. I'm trying to get to Warhammer Community so I can look more at those amazing models that are going to be released in a few days.
To be fair, you can just go to the web store.
True, but that's too easy.
Then you can see more photos and get stuck in the reflection of Sigvald, Prince of Slaaneshi.
Oh, and look at his butt. Oh yeah, we can look at his butt. Because he doesn't have armor on his butt or behind his leg guards.
Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Nothing. Yeah, the Sigvald model, I do like I'm not sure if it's a demon prince, but I like the model. You can certainly use it as a demon prince, because all demon princes doesn't have to look like monsters. You can still look pretty human.
It would be quite hard to use him as Sigvald in Sexted.
Yeah, he doesn't even exist.
And the size of the model itself.
Yeah, I've seen people starting to want to turn him into Fulgrim for 30k, and those they're going to release a Lord of Pain. We've seen this model before. Perfect for chaos characters. The Shard Speaker of Slaaneshi, perfect for a sorcerer.
Yeah, and as a base for most sorcerers that you want, you could build a Dark Elf out of it, a High Elf out of it, an Empire Wizard. Just have to change it up a bit.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of models we really like that can be used for a lot of things. I
mean, looking at it now, not now that you said use it as an Empire character, I just can't stop looking at that mirror and use it as the Van Horstman Speculum.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They have these Myrmidish Painbringers and Simbarish Twin Souls, which is pretty much conversion materials and Slaaneshi Chaos Warriors / Chaos Chosen.
Yeah. I'm thinking the Painbringers in a Cult of Slaanesh Dark Elf list as Dark Elves that have really, really fallen and been imbued with the power of chaos. It's the look of them.
Yeah, for sure.
And if they're in that armor, they're probably chosen by Slaanesh in some way.
Yeah. But looking at those models, they might be hard to rank up, but also using bits from these on the current Chaos Warrior kit, they're gonna look pretty badass.
Yeah.
I mean, those sword shields and helmets, or just shields and helmets on the plastic Chaos Warrior kit, is gonna be more than enough to Slaaneshify your army.
Yeah. And given that this is a dual kit that you mentioned, the Twin Souls and the Painbringers, there will be quite a lot of bits spare if you're using them for this reason. Because you get the dual hand weapons on some of them, and you get the shields, and you get helmets and bear heads and demon heads.
So using these, if you just buy a box to convert your models, you can certainly use these base models as the start of your own Chaos characters.
Yeah.
So they will really stand out amongst their Chaos Warrior brethren. And they're gonna release these Blizzbarb Seekers and the Sick Blade Seekers. Gonna be hard to use in 6th edition or any edition, except for like 3rd edition, I think, because then every model could buy a demonic mount. But since these are big, they're gonna be great to build a Seed of Slaanesh character, or put some demonettes on them, and you have the special unit from Storm of Chaos. I don't remember the name of the unit, but it's demonettes riding Steeds of Slaanesh.
Pleasure Seekers?
Yes, Pleasure Seekers.
And then you have all of the bits from the riders spare to sprinkle out in your entire army. So it's quite a good box to get them.
Yeah, for people who love to convert like me, this is going to be a great kit. And also, if you play a Dark Elf Cult of Slaanesh army, it's going to be pretty badass to build a Druchi Anointed and put him on a Steed of Slaanesh.
Yeah.
And putting some Dark Elf bits on these guys are going to do the trick.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard at all. The aesthetic is not too dissimilar.
Yeah. Then they have these Blizzbarb Archers, which is their infantry. Too bad that Chaos can't use bows, because these models are amazing as well. Great aesthetics. It's like I get the vibes from the Persians from 300.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm gonna see what I can do with this kit. But it would be lovely if I could turn them into Marauders. Just gotta work around those bows.
Yeah. It's like all of those kits. Like if you get one of each, then you'll have bits for an entire army. If you just mix it up with some regular stuff.
Thankfully, the bows aren't attached to the models in a way that they can be on some models. They just stretch out arms with a bow.
Yeah.
So you got easy to cut stuff away at least. I'm thinking making them a bit more elven and giving them crossbows.
Ooh. I mean, you could keep the bows and just say they're very good at shooting multiple arrows.
Yeah, that too. But they're really lovely models.
Yeah.
Whoa. Or make a warband for some game out of them.
Oh, why would you do that?
Because they're so good looking. And then you can get around the whole everyone has a bow.
Oh,
problem.
they would. These guys would be perfect if you play. What's the campaign called in Warhammer? It's a fan-made campaign. It's called Border Town Burning, where they introduced fan-made Marauder warbands, where you can choose to play Kurgans, you can play the Hung, you can play Norscans, but you play actual Marauders, and you can aspire to become a Chaos Spawn or a Demon Prince.
Ooh. Can Marauders take hand axes or throwing axes or something like that?
Yes, they can. And Marauders, if you play Kurgans, can use bows. So
cool.
So why not follow Slaanesh and use bows?
Yeah, I really like that the model Well, all of the models, but the one in particular is the one that's holding the brazier with the skulls.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in these kits when you look at them because there's so many details these days.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard to paint them because you want to go all out when you paint kits like this. Another kit that looks pretty neat is the special character Glutos Orcillion, Lord of Gluttony, which rides upon his... It's a little cart drawn by two monsters, and they have his entourage. He's eating a lot of things. He also have a gimp halfling on there.
Well, if anyone was going to fall to Slaaneshi for the reason of gluttony, it would be a halfling.
Yes. And this model could be used in 8th edition. I'm not sure if it can be used in 7th, but it could be used as a Chaos War Shrine. And characters can ride War Shrines in 8th edition. So my plan when I do this Slaaneshi army is to make it 6th and 8th compatible. And I really want to feel this model.
I'm just seeing how large it is because it's on a 170mm oval base.
Yep.
Could also just take the models from the podium and use them as characters because there's a lot of great models on there.
There's pretty much a Druchii anointed on it.
Yeah, the guy leaning on his sword.
Yeah, just standing there casually with his arms under his robe.
Yep. He's hiding something. When I look at the model, I am kind of reminded of the bodyguards of what's the Dark Elder character called from 40k, Asdrubal Vect. His old 3rd edition models had incubi who had cloaks, and he just kind of reminds me of those guys.
Yeah. And I think you could pretty much use, as Niklas said, all of these as characters on their own.
Yeah.
So take them off. And then you have like 2 large chaos spawn as well.
Yeah. What I also like about this is you can pick, like Niklas said earlier, you can pick them for characters. Or if you want to Slaaneshi your chariot, why not put the guy with the whip on the front part of your chaos chariot?
Yeah. And then you get a... massive large centerpiece within the kit if you use the characters and stuff for everything, for other things. They really have been doing a lot of great models for the Slaaneshi release.
And the final kit they have is the Slangor Fiend Bloods, not Blood Fiends. The Slangor Fiend Bloods. So we're finally getting Slangor models. Too bad that they're so big. But I like this because I plan to use these as Slaaneshi Minotaurs armed with 2 close combat weapons.
Yeah, they're on 40mm bases, so they're not that big.
They're bigger. They're about as big as a rat ogre.
Yeah, not that big.
Big. But compared
than they should be.
But compared to the models for Minotaurs, they're pretty small.
Yeah.
But I think they're taller than the 6th edition or earlier edition Minotaurs, which are pretty gaunt guys. Small but broad.
Yeah, but that's, we know, cool models are always cool models, but these won't really be able to rank up properly without modifying them a bit.
On 40mm basis, I'm sure they will rank up, but...
You usually just have them in 1 rank, right? So you can just kind of have them a bit sideways.
4 wide.
Yeah,
enough.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or would they be large enough to be something larger than a Minotaur? Like a troll?
Do you want to go Slaaneshi trolls?
Yes.
I'll do it.
I was thinking they could be quite cool on 50mm. Just not really detailed base. But they're good models at least.
Yes.
They're disturbing with their tie highs.
The claws. It's hard to please yourself when you have claws for hands.
Yeah, but that's why the leader has 1 hand.
That's why they follow him. It's the only one that can do it for them.
Oh dear. We don't even have an Australian on this episode.
I need a helping hand.
Of course, I was talking about back rubs and back stretches.
Yes.
Yep.
And scratching their noses.
Yeah. Holding forks.
And eating soup.
Yeah, but that was pretty much all of the new releases, I think, or previewed stuff, except for the massive blood snake that's in the Daughters of Cain Endless Spells kit. And the bloody-handed heart holding centerpiece that's also in that kit.
The bloody-handed thing would be a nice shrine piece, if anything else.
Yeah, just have it like an upgrade on the Shrine of Cain I did with the old cauldron statue.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to look at those things because I forgot what they look like.
And then they have a massive snake, and I really want to find a use for that snake for some. How about making
there.
a mareworm snake?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sure.
But now I'm looking at the
Mere
bloody-handed thing.
Yeah.
The bloody-handed heart thing. Take a cauldron of blood and don't put the avatar on top of it and put this there instead.
Yes.
Nice, yeah.
Because it's really, really cool looking, and
Yeah, I mean, often with those endless spells from Age of Sigmar, they're pretty much hit or miss.
Yeah.
And most of these are hits. Really good looking.
the Whirlwind of Swords isn't that good.
Yeah.
But actually, I think that is due to that it's red.
Yeah, that too. I mean, also the blood looks so thick. It's like jam. It's not blood. It's strawberry jam.
But to give a sense of scale, the two smaller ones are on a 50 mil round,
Yeah.
and the snake is on 100 mil. So, I mean, that snake is quite massive.
Yeah, and I mean, if you sculpt the missing parts of the snake so that it looks like a whole snake, is gonna look so cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, and then putting on like an aquatic base, so it's a mareworm.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. And painted like water dripping off.
Yeah.
Sounds great. I mean, and a mareworm is just one of many, many, many creatures that dwell in the dark waters of the old world.
And that is more to how it's described in the Gotrek and Felix book when they're fighting dark elves, like a large snake creature that comes out of the water.
Nice. Yeah, the mareworms explained in the War of Vengeance book sounds like fucking dragons.
Yeah, and that could be like a dragon creature that's just below the surface if you could do like a water base on it.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. Would work great. Maybe I
add
would
some
steal your idea.
Maybe add some spines on the back of it.
Yeah.
It's a bit more dragony.
I was actually thinking of using the Forge World Mareworm model as a Hydra for my Dark Elves to fit like the Corsair theme. I think any of those like just big creatures can be any kind of big creature. Like the ones that are sculpted are not the only big scary creatures in the world.
Yeah. And as we said, the endless spells are quite hit and miss, and looking through them, there are quite a lot that could just be terrain pieces or actually used as monsters or spells in fantasy, in Sixted even.
Yeah.
Imagine that, because I have seen people do it when you take the Flesh Eater Courts one with the horses and put like ghost knights on it.
Yeah.
Would look really good in a vampire counter army.
Great for a black coach as well.
Oh,
yeah, that's. I've also seen that when you replace the horses with that one. Yeah. So, but that was everything, I think.
And if we missed something, we just don't want to talk about it. Simple as that.
Don't write in. Oh, right. The Black Library are re-releasing a Malice Darkblade story in a physical copy. That's what you mentioned.
Should actually read that series. I haven't read any of them.
Yeah, they're quite good. They are also, you can notice that they are a bit older in the writing style.
Ye olde books.
Yeah.
They're not that old. Yep.
And as usual, when you try to find which one it was, you can't find it anymore because But I do know that they're re-releasing Dead Man Walking as a limited release as well.
Nice.
That book is great. Don't read it if you don't want to start Necron or Death Corps of Krieg army. That's probably what we should warn people.
I mean, Necron armies are actually easy to get by nowadays, so read it.
Yeah. And actually, in the news, not fantasy related, but they are releasing flayed ones as well.
Yep.
Yeah, in the new Kill Team box.
Yeah.
To start off with, at least.
So definitely don't read Dead Man Walking, or you'll be sucked in.
Yeah, the flayed ones in that they play a kind of major role in that book actually in the beginning.
Well, too bad. Now I'm starting Necrons again.
Well, Dead Man Walking is one of those books that you pretty much can read once a year if you want to, and still find it interesting. Because
Good. So it's pretty much like Riders of the Dead and Göttingen Felix Demon Slayer.
Yeah, it has the best type of ending for a Warhammer book, which is it's totally thematic to the setting.
Like I would say in Swedish, ingen skådades, alla dog.
Yeah, it's a very, very dark book. I love it.
Yeah. So if you're interested in those books, they're out during the same time as Uriel Ventris, isn't it? The character from the Ultramarines books that is finally getting a miniature.
Is he, what are they called? Primaris?
Yep.
Yeah, they wouldn't release a standard-sized Marine these days, would they?
Maybe a Forceful did, but no, I guess not. I have lost hope.
The
Yes,
latest one that they released is a librarian, and he doesn't look good. His head has shrunk down into his chest. His shoulders are so high.
Yeah. Ooh, there's actually a new novel for Uriel Ventris. I thought it was just a model, but it's a new novel.
I bet it's going to be like, this is how he turns it to a Primaris. And from what I know, turning an existing Space Marine into a Primaris is a dangerous procedure. And there's a very big chance they don't survive it. Except for every named character who does it and survives.
The book is called The Swords of Calth, and in the new novel, you'll see how his quest unfolds and get an insight into the changes a Space Marine undergoes when they cross the Rubicon Primaris. Seeing how a beloved character like Uriel Ventris deals with his altered status is a fascinating way to explore the difference between the two breeds of Space Marines and what they mean for the bonds of brotherhood that are vital to the Adeptus Astartes. That's what the movie. So you were pretty spot on with what the book was about.
Yeah, almost impossible, except for every name Marine.
Yeah, except for Dante, who hasn't been offered it yet.
Nope. Or what's it called? The chapter master of the Dark Angels, Asriel. But they don't want to turn Chaos Space Marines into those guys, and he's a Chaos Space Marine. He's a traitor.
He's got the demon powers.
Yeah.
Well, I know that we've been lax with it, but we are actually running a small challenge every month to get people painting. It works better for other people than us, apparently. But
yeah, I mean, I kind of started a new army this new year. I just never said that I'm going to take part in this challenge.
Yeah, you just take part in other podcast challenges.
Yeah, and I'm finished with that challenge now.
Yeah,
like 6 months in advance.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you and I did challenge each other. We should paint High Elves and Middenheimers this year.
Yep.
And I've almost painted an elf, and you paint dwarves instead.
I painted 2 armies, man.
Yeah.
None of them is Empire. I should be ashamed, but I'm not. It's actually cool to have multiple armies, to be honest.
Yeah, but we know that you'll paint them when you feel like it.
Yeah.
Because you want to do them justice.
Yes.
And speaking of justice, I'm going to just change topic and say for December challenge, Niklas, not this Niklas, another Niklas, painted a Rune Lord, which is not a GW model, I think, but I always thought, but it's a lovely model anyway.
A Niklas that actually paints his dwarves.
Yeah, it's amazing. But it's did a bit of an old school look with modern painting techniques because it's got a red staff and red cloak and coat and blue cloak on and hood on the model, and it looks really nice.
Nice.
And Courtney, who painted a mercenary general on the Island of Blood Griffin.
Oh, nice.
I think that's the Leopold miniature from Forge World, I think. Looks smug enough, at least.
Well, that model is smug.
Yeah, with the sword across his back, and just it's looking a bit like paintings of old kings and generals. Just a bit turned, a bit like paintings of Wallenstein or something. Emil, who painted the Arkan for his Arkanon chariot that he made a lovely flying version of later on.
Yes.
I mean, I'm amazed that that model stays in the raised position it is in. And then we have Ted, who made a lovely orc boss on Wyvern.
Always fun to see orcs.
Yeah, so he had the 4th edition Wyvern and the 6th edition war boss.
Nice combination.
Yeah, it's a lovely war boss with a giant double-headed axe as well. So it makes it lovely and brutal for an orc war boss on a Wyvern. And I love this era of modeling when every flying lizard creature of any kind had this exact same pair of wings. And Andrea painted a necromancer or a vampire lord or something. Yeah, but that was what was painted in on that we had on Facebook, at least, on this challenge. Then you scroll up and see the next post from us, and that is the best 9 we had last year, which is just pretty much Jimmy's miniatures for some reason.
Well, I did get number 1, but every other position was Jimmy pretty much.
Yeah, but that.
But yeah, you did get that number 1. You finally did.
Yeah, but that's just number 1 for being up quite a long time as well, isn't it? And being published in other groups, wasn't it?
I tried every dirty trick to get that past Jimmy's.
Even creating about 150 fake accounts and just liking it yourself.
Pretty much.
I'm just glad that it didn't just show the Sonic meme on top on the first one.
Yeah, that was our number 1 for a long time.
Yeah. Was a great meme though.
Yeah. And then we have for January, and Andreas painted a certain undead lizardman lord, a Slaan. I think everyone knows who he is because his name is a double pun. Pretty much.
As he would pronounce it himself.
Yep. But it's a lovely model.
Yeah.
And Danny finished it's a Change of Ways. That's the Singe one, right? The demon.
The demon, yeah.
Change your ways.
Painted one of those in a unit of horrors and some screamers, and they all look really good.
Is this where the screamers? No, not screamers. Where the horrors are made of blue horrors, the smaller ones.
I think so.
Yeah,
they're pink at least.
Yeah, they're painted. They're
painted pink. Painted pink with green fire.
But it is the blue horror kit.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then I have this lovely screamers. And it has really nice basings as well.
Yeah.
They look like desolate, proper desolate wasteland. And we all know that if you see a giant floating toothy manta ray coming from the sky, you probably
run.
Yeah, and I love that they're brightly colored as well, and not that's just fitting in the Singe aesthetic. And Adam painted he painted another version of the mini I'm painting, I think. An elf with a pointy stick and a sword on a griffin, the really old one. Before he went to Nagaroth and got his army massacred and his eyes burned out by the Witch King.
This is the time when he fought off fat goblins.
Yeah. So we know that he's better at somehow better at fighting fat goblins than other elves.
Yep.
That was what we've had on Facebook, and it's been since we've been lax on recording. It's if I were to just look at it on the iPad for Instagram at the moment, it would just probably show way too much to just focus on. But we are still running it here in February, and we are currently wanting you to paint a rare choice, like a steam tank, perhaps, or a bolter as I'm painting, or whatever other rare choice you want
I
to
mean,
paint.
I might feel these as Dogs of War dwarves. Then they're a rare choice.
Yeah.
I painted enough rare choices for my dwarf army this month. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, I'm part of the Crown of Command podcast challenge where they paint 200 points a month, and I painted 10 Slayers, I painted my 10 Thunderers, I painted a Runesmith, I painted my organ gun, my flame cannon, and now 20 warriors. This is way above 200 points.
Yeah, I'm just really glad that a lot of people are participating in these challenges. It's really great to see all the posts we get about it.
Yeah. And from now on, you can also join on Twitter if you also want to do it on Twitter for some reason. But it's okay. Just tag it, and
we're gonna get more used than using Twitter.
Yeah.
Just hang in there.
I've only had it for about 10 years, and I'm barely using it, so it's real fun. But there's usually a great hobby community on Twitter. But as usual with Twitter, we've all heard about Twitter. It can be a bit weird sometimes.
Yes.
But I know that some people have been joining in this month, and there's someone that's painting a toad dragon as an example. Something rare.
That model.
That's a rare choice and a rare model.
Yep. And I know there's at least one that's building a Von Seppel steam tank that I've been following on Twitter at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the best steam tanks to build because it looks so cool when it's finished with all of those lovely people on top of that. One has a rifle and another has a musket, and then there's the guy with the pointy stick.
So it's the same crew as on the War Wagon, right?
I think he used the War Wagon crew, yeah.
Yeah,
that's great. Man catcher.
Yeah. But on the other hand, if you were to run into a unit, you would probably want to have some people that just repel borders. Otherwise, the wheels get swamped.
Yeah, that blunderbuss looks like it can repel a whole regiment.
Yeah. Oh, it would be nice to just... Which of the Chronicles or yearly books are...
I think it's in both Chronicles.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think the one that has the steam tank battle.
I think that's 2004.
The Derby?
Yeah.
I think that's the 2004, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it would be fun to play those extra games that were in the annual and Chronicles, like the steam tank battles, or the one that just have like a massive fight between dinosaurs in Lustria. But just imagine that.
Fight!
But just imagine that would be like in current car. So that would be quite cool. Just have like a skirmish game where you have a beast monster that pits their massive lizard or other monster against other massive monsters.
I like the idea of this. We need to do this.
Just need to have like some kind of arena and fighting. Steam Tank Demolition Derby Trial Rules by Graham McNeil.
I wonder how many people actually play that thing.
They're playing it on the exact same table as they did the Dino Joust. So these two battles that are photographed in this book, I think that's what people have been playing.
We made this really cool arena. Now we just need to come up with crazy game modes for it.
Yeah, but it would be great to play, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Border Patrol are in this book as well. Why am I doing this? Why am I looking at this?
Yeah, stop. We need to look at miniatures.
Yeah, but we are done with the miniatures.
Okay.
At least the painted ones on Facebook.
So let's talk a bit about Border Patrol.
Yeah.
Why not? It's for small games. It's kind of like the fantasy version of 40K in 40 minutes, which I loved when they released.
Weren't they released about the same time?
Yeah.
Back in the misty days of 2004.
I think this was released shortly after, because they say in that article, like, oh yeah, for 40k it worked really well, so we tried to do the same.
So it's Border Patrol is like you play 500 points. You have other minimum rules, so you don't need to field 2 core units. You only need to field 1, but it has to be at least 10 models strong. Some extra rules for certain armies.
Yeah, and you have a maximum amount of units and cap in points in heroes.
Yeah, starting off it's like 500 points for the army, and you need 2 units minimum, and you can't have more than 4.
I actually played a game of Border Patrol last year, and it was really fun, and I look forward to do it again.
Yeah. And that tournament that Joseph did, bringing back 6th edition, a couple of years ago now, he had this as the first mission of the day, which I thought was great because it's a fast mission and it got people like reacquainted with the rules without having to play like a full battle. So that was a great idea.
Yeah, and the limitations are good to make it a bit more balanced because you can take either one special or rare. You can't take one of each.
Yeah, it's a great way to do several pickup games if you're going for a game night.
Yeah.
Not that many people are doing that nowadays, but when you're going back to it, it's a great way to get a lot of games in and just getting reacquainted with the game because you don't have that much to think about.
So if anyone out there are able to play games, please do try out the Border Patrol and show us pictures of your games. We want to see them.
Yeah, all those New Zealanders.
Show us pictures of any game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you might have suspected, given that it's a smaller point size, you only need a 3x4 gaming table as well. So you can play it on most tables.
Yeah, you can get 2 games next to each other.
Yep.
Running.
Ooh, trial rules for the Chaos Mutations.
Oh, I read those. And there's one there, which I just love. It's only for Slaaneshi lords. I think it costs like 55 points, so it has to be a lord. And it's a one-use only mutation, and it screams. And when he does, so all wizards on the table get some miscast.
Whoa.
Friend and foe.
So the warrior can emit a screech that blurs reality and opens a tiny crack to the realm of chaos for a split second, bringing forth a sudden wave of magical energy that overpowers even the mightiest of sorcerers. And yeah, it's 55 points and it's called Hell Shriek.
I like all these mutation rules. They should be official. I know that when Niklas and I went to Poland, they used these rules. They also used the trial wizard rules. What are they called? The trial spells.
The revised lores.
Yes, which is pretty good actually.
Yeah.
I don't know all the changes by heart, but I do remember when someone like compared the changes to me. It's like, yeah, this makes more sense.
I think we used the revised rules here as well, the magic, because they basically add ranges to spells that had unlimited range, mostly.
Yes. Did they change any casting value as well, I think? Or are those the same? Not sure. But yeah, it's cool.
I think they changed like the range of the Lore of Heaven spells and stuff like that.
Yeah, because they had a lot of unlimited stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Heavens and
forked lightning everywhere.
Yeah, some changes to Lore of Life as well, I think.
Yeah, and Lore of Beasts. Those are the 3 that got big changes there. Yeah, but these, the 2002 the 2002 annual and the 2003 and 4 Chronicles are great books to just have in your collection for inspiration. Not only like rules update and stuff like that, but you get new characters, you get scenarios, you get ways to play the game.
Yeah, definitely. If you see them being sold online, get them. Don't hesitate.
Yeah. There is one book, though, which is worth more than those, which is the General's Compendium, the best book there is.
Oh, yeah.
And we've said it before, and we'll say it again. If you see the book, get it. If you have the book, read it.
But be careful, because it do have a tendency to fall to pieces after a while. At least the first printing, because it was horribly glued.
Speaking of that book, a friend of mine, he just got back into 6th edition, which is really fun. He's from Stockholm and is gonna do a Dark Elf Force. And whenever we're allowed to meet each other and play a game, we will do so, which I hope is this summer. And we talked about doing a long campaign with the border. It's not Border Town. It's what is it called?
Border Princess?
Yes, the Border Princess system in that book, which is like a real map-based campaign.
If astute listeners might remember that we actually started one as well inside the podcast in about 2 years ago.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I would say it's still ongoing, but it's just
Yeah.
hard to play as it is right now.
yeah, it's been. Well, I think everyone knows what the past about a year has been for gaming outside person that you live next to, pretty much.
Oh well.
Yeah, but it will be picked up once we can travel again.
Yes, maybe up the points again. We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm almost finished with these models, guys.
Ooh.
I am currently highlighting the silver and gold. Then it's just horns, skin, and the beard. Then they're all done. So I'm gonna post these up tomorrow.
Nice.
Cool. The one annoying thing with the Eltharion list I'm going to use is that Eltharion himself doesn't have a magic weapon.
Does he need one?
Everyone needs magic weapons.
Yeah, I guess if you're an elf.
Yeah. Although he's got the rule Great Leap, which is Eltharion is immensely acrobatic and is able to jump high through the air to reach his foes. At the start of any round of combat, before attacks are allocated or challenges is issued, Eltharion may be moved to anywhere in the same combat, even leaving one unit and joining another, or becoming an independent character. He may not use this to position himself out of combat, or if he's already involved in a challenge.
Wait,
That's a really cool rule.
this is really good because if you can jump over into like another side of a unit, you like in the flank or the rear, you actually do get the bonuses for that. So this is great.
Yeah.
You just don't remove enemy ranks.
Note that it also has 4 attack base, and you can either give him +1 attack, +2 attacks, or +1 hit with those attacks. That is 2 of his 4 way of the stances that they can use.
Yeah. But as a staunch Night Goblin player, I'm gonna say you don't need magical weapons.
No, it's just if I'm facing Krell, then I would need it. Because then we just put an annoying ghost next to him, and be annoying. Yeah. I'm actually glad that it doesn't have a magical weapon, because it would be a bit more imbalanced by that point. But it used to have a magical weapon when it was the Warden of Iris. Oh, well. So we are probably going to round off, because we're running out of steam, I think.
Yes.
And you're painting, and Niklas
I'm getting hungry as well.
Yeah.
We're just talking about whatever we can see.
Yes.
Look at this coffee cup.
Yeah. I actually have a box here on my painting desk that says Stormcast Eternals Secutors. Discuss. No, I'm just kidding. I actually have the box, but we're not going to discuss that. But we'll hopefully going to try to record a bit sooner than within the next 2 months.
That sounds good.
Yes.
And then we'll probably discuss the next preview on hopefully a game or 2 for Jimmy, because he's lucky enough to be able to play.
Yes, I am a lucky git.
Yeah, and we're also working on some other content, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. So, see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye, and remember, stay square.